Hey car friends, we're at like a secret location a little north of Los Angeles. Behind me you see a lot of secret doors, and they each lead into secret man caves. Every little parcel, every little cell there is a man cave stuffed with wonderful cars, and we're gonna meet a real car aficionado, Patrick Long, and we're gonna talk about cars and about Luftgekühlt.
Patrick Long is one of the most accomplished American racing drivers of the modern era, perhaps best known for his long and successful career as a Porsche factory driver. His racing resume includes major victories in the Le Mans Series and the FIA World Endurance Championship. Beyond the racetrack, Patrick is the visionary behind Luftgekühlt, a Porsche event that has completely redefined how car culture is experienced. The conversation we have here in his man cave is so rich that I've decided to split it into two parts. In the first episode, we dive into Patrick's background, mindset, and the ideas behind Luftgekühlt. Part 2 takes us down in his Porsche garage, and we take a ride in one of his very personal cars.
So yeah, we're in Calabasas, California. This is one village over from where I grew up and about an hour north of LA. The finish line is a car condo development, and we're in their clubhouse hanging out for the day.
Yeah, this is like a collection of man caves, newly built. It's like a row of secret garages. And
yeah,
we almost didn't find it, so you keep the cars close. But
yeah, Tony, the founder, had an idea of keeping his collection. He was an enthusiast, and he was keeping his collection in an industrial complex. But there was always a carpet company next door, or somebody was rolling by and looking into his cars. So I think his vision was to have a private oasis for car community only, but you own your actual space. So you can creatively direct it to tell your own story. Different genres of cars. There's American hot rods, there's Italian only, there's lots of Porsche, and they have quite a few of these locations.
Yeah, and it's a growing community, he kind of explained to me. So cars and car enthusiasm, which is the driver for the whole thing that we do, is that it kind of transcends all the other sociological skills between people. So it's more important than age and income and gender and, you know, all the classic things, education, because once you're a car enthusiast, it kind of brings you closer to other car enthusiasts. And here you can meet with like-minded car morons and, you know, relax and take down the fists and just enjoy the love of the cars.
Yeah, and I think that it's exclusive most days of the week. It's quiet, as you can tell. We didn't close this down or make any reservations. So it's very approachable for the owners, and it's a place to get away and to grab a car, leave a car, take a car. But certain weekends, it's not that exclusive, and they open it up and let other people come in and see these spaces and let these collections be shared. And I've talked to a lot of different owners, and they say, you know, it makes no sense for me to have all these cars behind a curtain and for no one to ever know about them. I might not want them on social media, but during the day, if people want to come and ask me questions and hear one of them start up, then why not?
Or share them with other enthusiasts. So you're part of that, and one of the reasons we're here, Patrick, is because you're an interesting person. I already made a little intro with your racing career, but so we can skip that. But I mean, you've been behind the wheel your entire life, and I kind of find it a little, you know, it spurs and stirs my my curiosity. But because most racing drivers, when they retire, if they retire, they kind of fade off, find something else to do, or they venture into classic motorsports. But you are now, like, may I say, a businessman. So you're gonna commercialize your interest in these cars.
Yeah, I mean, growing up in Southern California, there's a lot of creativity on the west side. Surf, skate influence. My little brother's a professional skater. I've always enjoyed working with brands. I never knew or had a plan that I would create my own or multiple brands. I feel fortunate that I've been able to do that. But it's leading by passion and by my enthusiasm of cars and Porsche specifically, and also trying to answer questions or solve problems within the space. And Luftgekühlt was a culmination of owning an air-cooled Porsche and realizing that there was a whole community out there that wanted to learn and own these cars, but they weren't resonating with the old school exclusive club members. They wanted tacos and beers and dogs and family and what any given Sunday here in the west side of LA would be. And so I kind of took my two backgrounds and put them together.
Yeah. I read somewhere that you and your friends kind of had this talk that you didn't really find the scene that you felt compatible with, and then someone had the idea, maybe it was you, let's make our own scene.
Yeah, exactly. Much like Dr. Porsche, he was looking for that sports car of his dreams and couldn't find it, so he made his own.
I'll make it myself.
Inspired by, again, filling a hole. I feel like there wasn't a car show or a coffee shop car show community, but there were all these great spaces that were non-automotive spaces that could open their doors to automotive enthusiasm. And that's really where I started with Deus in 2014. And it exploded. And we've been trying to keep up with it ever since. I think I love creativity, but I also come from the racing side where it's all objective. It's all about engineering and science and lap times and attention to detail. So my exposure to the racing world and the creative world has let me sort of direct this brand in a way that feels authentic, but also has some business model to it, and is not just a hobby.
No, it's a business, and you now travel the world and you pick spaces for your venues. And now you're wearing the T-shirt. So tell me, what's the difference between Luftgekühlt and Air Water?
Yeah, Air Water.
Obvious, but
yeah, it's a
self-explanatory.
It's a sister brand of Luft, the same production team, the same year-round back end. But the front end is not only introducing water-cooled cars and the entire line of Porsche's history and modern, but allowing a space for trade, for auctions, for a lot more of the commercial side that Luft has been much more directed by art and artisan and sort of that anti-corporate feel. Luft wanted to stay pure, but we had a lot of partners and a lot of great people who came and said, we want a playground to sell what we create and what we engineer. And so, JP Dansk is a perfect example of somebody who understands Luft and can activate in a creative way inside of our company, but also has their commercial trade and their product displays that they want to really get out there in a big way. So with Air Water, we have a permanent or hopefully permanent location and a fixed date. So it's much different than Luft, which moves around and has different dates and different locations in different countries. Air Water is based in Southern California in Orange County, a mecca of car culture itself, but also a great place for people from all over the world to easily fly into and have a week in California. And my goal for the future is that it's everything Porsche under one roof. You name it, we want to do it.
Great. Now you get around, so you get your fingers in the dirt in many different areas of the world. And when we come here, or when I come here, I feel that the California scene or the American scene is much more open and free, and it allows breaking all sorts of rules, where the European scene, to me, with Luftgekühlt Porsche, gets more and more narrow and more originality based and fixed. And it's more outlawish. I know that's like a cliche here, but it seems that there are so many subcultures where you can express yourself through your car. Do you see that when you go to Europe? That it's more like they're Blood Orange and Fuchs and Pepita and narrow steering wheels, and then you come back here and it's all sorts of crazy interpretations.
Yeah, I think there's more individualization and customization in Europe than ever before, but it's still pretty small. And I think some of it stems back to regulations of TÜV and some of the other places where you can't get too wild with your cars. But also the creative aspect of LA has always been a hub for car community that likes to modify and likes to bend the rules. If you look to Rod Emery and his family all the way back, they were the outlaws, the original people who took Porsches and did outlandish things and bucked the system of originality. Myself, like Rod's family, we came from the Detroit Ford hot rod eras where a lot of modifying was about expression, but it was also about performance. The way that I look at my Porsches is they should tell a story of education and originality, but I also put in my own secret sauce or racing spirit, if you will, of improving these cars, because I am a driver. And the way I look at my cars is from the ergonomics and the cockpit working out. And that means it has to function first before you worry about form. I think there's a lot of guys who modify their cars and it's all about creativity. I start with functionality and then maybe some small creative inputs. So different than my show, my cars are a little bit more purist, but on the show side, we celebrate all walks of life. Original survivors, concourse perfect restoration, period correct, and then the wacky and wonderful. And that always came back to the idea of Luftgekühlt. I could walk somebody around Luftgekühlt, whether it was 40 cars or 400 cars, and explain to them the spirit of air-cooled Porsche and why I find it so captivating.
I find that functionality in itself has its aesthetics, but now you touch on to the oldest conflict of the history of the world, architect and engineer, like battling it out. But you take the functional approach, of course, because you're a functionalist in core. But I often run into Porsche guys and they all say, my Porsche drives really well. But I often think, based on what? I mean, with reference to what? It fires up, it goes down to the meat, and it goes back without stalling, then is that good? Because in my experience, it takes years and years of trying all sorts of torsion bars and different brake discs, and it takes a long time to optimize a classic Porsche until it really drives well. I mean, how much time do you spend with that? You have a 356.
A lot of time. Not because it didn't work well from the start, but because I think you can always push that envelope. Yeah. And as a pro driver, yes, going fast and winning races is an obvious objective, but actually refining the car, developing tires, developing shock technology, aero, it all is part of our job. And so it's ingrained in me that I feel every single thing. I feel 1 degree of steering. I feel a little bit of rebound change. And so I want a car. When a suspension tech asks me, do you want a car that's compliant or do you want a car that has high performance in lateral roll? And I'm saying both. Because I think you can achieve both if you're willing to spend the time and the money to do it. Same with exhaust. I want an exhaust that is invigorating. I want an exhaust that's emotional. I want a free-flowing exhaust, but I also want to get through smog, and I don't want it to be too loud, and I don't want it to drone. And so I think the companies that really understand that you can have your cake and eat it. You can have a Swiss Army knife of a product and a car and still be period correct. Those are the people that I like to partner with because they give you a little bit of all of it or a lot of all of it, depending on what the product is. And I never rest on it has to be one or the other.
It's funny because our mutual hero, John Wilhoit, I visited him the other day. I had the privilege of spending an hour in his workshop, and we spoke about exactly that. That isn't it fascinating that working every day with cars from the 50s, that you can still improve every little day. His mechanic Chad, while we were having the talk, went out in a car, came back, twiddled a little, went out again, came back, twiddled a little bit, and gradually moved closer to what he wanted to move closer to. And that's like a journey that's been going on for 60 years with this car. And you can still find like a little thing there and there. I mean, that must be, it's like a never-ending story.
It is, and I think that you have to be able to feel and assess what it is that you want. B, you have to isolate where it is that you want to focus. And then C, you have to be able to communicate it and articulate it to somebody who's very qualified to refine it and to make it better. And that's that relationship of driver and engineer. I find the engineers I've worked with, like Roland Kuzma or Mr. Singer, they have that ability to understand what a driver wants. In Roland Kuzma's example, he was a driver and a damn good driver, and that always helps with engineers, both from a communication standpoint and also from the knowledge base of like, this is what the driver actually wants from compliance, this is what the driver wants from handling, and everything in between.
Yeah. We should, because we have limited time, we should go and look at your car.
Hey car friends, thank you for watching JP Group Club. This is our new YouTube channel. It's obviously sponsored by JP Group, and we're aiming to tickle you in all the right places with information and entertainment pertaining air-cooled cars from primarily Porsche and Volkswagen. Stay tuned, and we're gonna take you through production. We're gonna test products at the workshop. We're gonna take you to interesting places, drive fascinating cars, and meet relevant people. Help me get this show on the road. Press the subscribe button and like and whatever you can. Share it with your friends, and we're gonna make it fly. Thanks a lot for watching.